Today we're going to be going over some budget rigging and really how to get specialty shots. Recently in a commercial, we were telling this story in a space that had access to a garage door. And she likes to open up the garage door when she's working, and we thought this would be a really good idea. Actually, the director, Jason, said, hey, can we attach the camera to the garage door? And it was an amazing idea, and then I had to figure out a way and kind of work quickly on my feet to figure out how actually we could do that. So in this video, we're gonna be going over a budget way to do that, and then also an advanced way to do that when you have money, you have options, and then you also have access to a lot of gear. There's a lot of filmmaking tools available, and I get a lot of questions on how to do things specifically or where I get ideas from. And a lot of the place and inspiration is literally finding things on Amazon. The number one thing I like to have in my kit, or even when I'm in the process working on a project and in the pre-production process, buying things because I know I'm gonna get specialty shots, is these magnets. These magnets you've probably seen on the channel when I'm doing a lot of Titan tubes or putting anything in the ceiling, but it's a magnet with a 1/4-20 on it specifically. And these are absolutely amazing for filmmaking. If you look at your camera that has a cage, there's 1/4-20 points all over it. And the shot that we're looking to get, we have access to a garage door in our studio. Obviously, it's not the same exact as the setup because it was a manual garage door, the ceiling was a lot shorter, and it gave us a lot more effect because we actually rode the curve of the garage door, but we just wanted to showcase it in a situation where it's controlled, where we can actually go over everything and build everything. But it was funny because I was like, I don't know if the garage door is steel or aluminum. So I had some of these at home and I quickly tested the garage door out in my parents' garage and it worked. So generally these are just galvanized steel, and steel is magnetic, aluminum is not. So this is gonna work perfect for us. And the magnet's stuck. I'm just gonna screw something on to get some leverage to take this off. In a lot of these situations, when I'm trying to put something on a surface, the preferred method is usually suction cups. And I have a crate of a bunch of suction cups and just rigging points, and usually I use the crate for doing a lot of car rig stuff, but I have like some suction cups for the Tilta. But my main go-to is this one, and it's made by Matthews, and because it has a big baby pin on it. So that's something I really like when rigging. I want strong points and nothing really too flimsy. But Small Rig, and there's a bunch of other companies make other suction cups. I really like these ones too, because I can easily put a spigot on here, put it wherever I want, and also has a bunch of basically cheese plate options. So I like to have both of these ready to go. One for my main mounting point, and then another one to put a friction arm or something on it. So these are generally the go-to when trying to rig anything. But if we look at our surface here, that it's ribbed for added rigidity, and also the surface is very like, I would say porous. It's not flat. So basically if I try to push this on, even my small one, I'm not gonna get any suction. So this is not even gonna work. And then other points, if I didn't even have magnets, I could look here and I could try to grab off here, but this is a hinging point. If we actually open up the garage door and we watch like one of the top ones go up, you're gonna see as it tries to go over the track, this is where it actually hinges. So I know that is not going to be a good option for me to use. This isn't a good point to grab off of. This is not for suction cups, so my next solution was magnets. And then even looking around here, there's other little things like this little handle or this little handle too, but I want basically my talent to be grabbing that, so that's not really in play. So the only really solution to do this properly is going to be magnets. Maybe on professional grip sets and everything like that, they'd ratchet maybe a board to this by going through the edges and everything, and then they have a spigot to work off that. But I'm not in that world. I don't have access to a full package truck, so we're gonna show you exactly what you can do with things that are very affordable.
If you're enjoying this hands-on style content, we've just launched pre-sales on Cinematic Lighting Lab, the course that we wish we had when we first started filmmaking. With techniques we've used on major commercial sets like Nike and Lululemon, you'll go from the essentials of lighting to advanced techniques that we use on all our commercials. We're running pre-sale until November 29th, so grab it before prices go up. Check out the link in the description below.
So again, we're gonna be showing you the advanced option later, but all you're gonna need is a bunch of these magnets. They believe they come in packs of 2 or packs of 1, and they're relatively inexpensive. You kind of just have to buy them once, buy them properly, and that's it. So I just have a bunch of them in my kit. So, and then additionally what you need is a cheese plate. These come usually in a pack with a 15mm rod. I'm just gonna use this cheese plate. And then Small Rig makes another like V-mount adapter plate. This usually comes with a 15mm rod too. And this is something that I have in my kit. So I'm like, this is what I'm going to try and build this rig out of. And then I just have a general dovetail plate. This is just one that can fit on my little tripod plate here, and this is just detachable. Again, you can just pick this up as well. We'll have links in the description for everything. And this is kind of what I'm working with, and then I just have a bunch of screws and stuff here. 2 of these would be great, but usually I don't have 2 of these, so I'm like, I can use this as a cheese plate like this, and then I can attach my base plate right here. So let's put it together and see what we can create. My main thing that I'm gonna be looking at first is how I can attach this plate. And then this has a slot where I can put 1/4-20 screws in. And then I already stepped this down. This was a 3/8. I'm always looking for 2 points to screw into. So I have a 1/4-20 there and a 1/4-20 there. That lines up perfectly, and I can make my plate right there. So let's start with that. Okay, so I have that ready to go, and the next thing that I'm going to do is attach this guy. And then these, I believe, this isn't, I don't know if this is Small Rig brand, but we'll put this up in the description regardless. But the holes line up perfectly. This is what usually happens with these basically import brands, Chinese brands, is that they're all the same product, but they just all have different names on them. So usually everything lines up when you come to these like holes and cheese plates and like different V-mount plates and everything. So I'm gonna use, again, 2 1/4-20 screws in here. And what I'm doing is just making a 90-degree cheese plate. And these do exist, which you're gonna see later. But again, that is an order you're gonna have to do from probably B&H, and it's gonna be expensive. I wanna use equipment that, like, I'm in the pre-production process. We just did a location scout, and the shoot is in maybe 1 to 2 days. So I need something that is fast, that is going to arrive fast, and usually that's just, if you have an Amazon Prime account, it's gonna come the next day. So this is what I'm looking for and adapting. So again, you wouldn't necessarily do this because the V-mounts on the bottom and everything like that, but this perfectly works easily as a 90-degree plate. And now I have access to all these holes in the back. So now I can just attach my magnets. Generally, you saw when we just put one on, they're extremely hard to get off. So I have 8 always just in my kit. Don't ask me why, I've just built them up over time. But we're going to put 8 on this. We could probably put 4 and get away with that. But again, we are putting this camera up high in the air, and I want to be as safe as possible. So if 4 can hold it, why not double it? And then I'm just doing these by hand, tight. I do have a nut on the back. If I had a small a wrench to get in there, I could lock this onto the cheese plate. But again, this is super quick and there's no really twisting force on this, so I know I'm going to be fine. Oh, and this happens a lot too, so be careful when you're doing this stuff. I've pinched my fingers 1 too many times with these magnets and they're really strong, so yeah, again, like that. So just watch out for that. And then I'll just look across to make sure that all the magnets are roughly on the same like plane, so it's not uneven clamping, and then we're good to go. So let's test this out and see how it works. And that's it. Obviously we have leverage just to knock it off, so it's no problem, but this is not going anywhere. Obviously with impacts, it's just sliding down. As long as it's not tipping off or anything like that, we're good to go. And before I even throw my camera on, I'm gonna test this beforehand. Let's just put it here. All right.
Oh, cleared it, we're good. Okay, so it's not even gonna reach the curb because that's the limit of the garage door. But we're not sitting on a seam and everything's really good. So the only thing is we have a crossbar there. Obviously, if I was going up that high, I have like maybe 3 inches of gap. So this is why we test everything before we put a camera on.
And obviously on set, you don't have a lot of time. It's very stressful, and then things can get missed like that. And that's how cameras get broken. Like, more importantly, that's how people get hurt. So it's just like, slow down, just take the 5 to 10 extra minutes, because you'd rather get the shot safely than risk anybody getting hurt or any equipment getting damaged. So my favorite camera, when I'm doing any of these rig shots, I would not put a RLX on there. I would not put a Sony Venice, I would put a Sony FX3. Or even, I could even push this with a red Komodo if we rigged it out right too. So I am going to use the Sony FX3, and then I would generally, when I'm doing like these rigged shots, I would just use a Sony lens, but I fortunately own a set of my own vintage lenses, and I use these for all my specialty shots. Yeah, I can't put a PL mount on this, I can't put another 5 to 6 pound lens, and then eventually a matte box because I need to run NDs. I'm looking for something that has screw-on filters and also a filter in the backstage of the actual EF mount, which is the one that we have here. So this is a variable ND, and NDs are your favorite friend when trying to rig anything or do any of these shots. I don't even need to put any filtration on the front of this lens because I have this throttle right here. And that's why I love to use EF lenses, because we don't want to throw a matte box and we don't want to throw a set of filters on there, because then it's out this much. And then if it's a very basically close quarter shot, that's gonna just take up so much room. This footprint is so small. It's basically the size of this plate here. It's literally a box. And that's why I love this camera so much. We're gonna set this how we kind of did it on the day. So it was kind of like she was grabbing the door handle and then pulling it up. Yeah, we're just gonna fake that. Ooh, running into some issues. The rod mount is getting in the way. In. Make sure that's extra tight. A little shake. Obviously we have some vibration here, but that's okay. That's more than enough for what the shot is. And then when we actually did the shot, there was some vibration, but it added to the feeling and everything like that, so we weren't too concerned. So now I'm just going to set my exposure. I'm going to go wide open on this lens, and then I'm going to set my focus point. I'm looking to get this handle right here, and we're good to go. So when we actually shot the commercial, we kind of had it rigged up like this, but on an angle plate, which I'm gonna be showing you after, but this was it. And I was just standing right here, and I set the focus and everything, and I just pressed record. We did it a couple times, and then I'm like, oh, does the director want feed? Do you guys want to pull focus? And we're like, no, this is a 2-second shot in the commercial, not even. It was a 1 second by the end of it. Just roll it, and then we'll watch it afterwards. It wasn't worth getting a whole setup, basically taking all the transmitters, the batteries, and figuring out a cheese plate system to put everything on there, but we're gonna show you exactly how to do that afterwards, but this is all you need to pull off this shot. So again, this is a garage door that has a motor on it, so it's gonna be very jerky. When we actually shot this, it was a manual door, so we could control kind of the ramp up into it. So Justin is just on our controls there, but I'm just gonna be pretending that I'm lifting the garage door. It's not gonna be as realistic, because usually it's a lot faster, so we'll just see what this looks like. And 3, 2, 1. All right, obviously very slow, but it still gives you that effect that we're looking for. A lot of these shots are used as inserts. They're usually used for maybe half to 1 second. It's not like you're tracking the whole motion. It's to transport the viewer to another scene. We went from basically her making pottery to her opening the door to a profile shot of her with the door open. So it's transporting the viewer easily to another scene without being too jarring or distracting, because there's something in the middle of that story to tell you kind of where we're going next. So the next thing that we're gonna do is I'm going to take this apart, and then I'm gonna show you exactly how to do this on a more advanced rig where you have access to a wireless system and something that looks a little bit more clean and kind of professional. And this is our more advanced setup. So just to give you some perspective, that this took about maybe, I would say 10 to 15 minutes just to sort out in terms of getting a V-mount on there, just wiring up all my cables, setting up a production monitor, and then just everything that is associated with this. So if we kind of run through this, what the upgrades are from the last time, we have basically a focus system if we're trying to focus between 2 points during the shot. I have a wireless video, so my focus broiler can look at it as well as the director. And then because of that, I had to run a V-mount on this. So that is basically the upgrades into everything that we're going on here. And then also we're using an entirely different plate. So this is a right angle cheese plate. I forgot the company that makes this, but you can find this on B&H, and we're gonna have it linked in the description below. But basically what it gives you is a bunch of mounting points at a right angle, both quarter 20, 3/8, and then as well as slots to put quarter 20 bolts in there that are captive and stay there, as you can see with the two that we use for the actual dovetail plate that we're using to get the camera on there. So this just gives you kind of almost unlimited points and ways to rig. I haven't just used this for this setup specifically. I've used it for a lot of top-down shots, car rig things when I'm trying to get the camera upside down and close to certain aspects. And then this is basically in my kit to get a bunch of different shots. As you can see, it's weathered, it's been through the paces already, and I absolutely love this piece of kit. So this was just me investing in a system that I knew that I would be using for a long period of time. And then on the back here, you can see that we're running 7 magnets instead of the 8 because just one of those holes is being used up there. But again, if I had an adapter, I could adapt one of these, but I know with this weight that these are more than enough. But you can just see the unlimited holes that we have here. So another big question I get is how we adapted our Hollyland to basically a V-lock kind of system here. So you can see on our back of our production monitor. So as you can see, this is a V-lock kind of plate. This is made by Wooden Camera, and I can lock this in. So it does come in a kit. The problem is that they're only designed for Teradeks, and these kind of import, when I'm talking about import, I'm talking about like Chinese brands, that they have basically not really adapted to the times of what's standard. They kind of just have their proprietary kind of things, like cold shoe mounts and everything like that, because their market is prosumer, not necessarily people who are in like the more, I guess, say professional market. So these are just kind of V-lock plates that I got off of Amazon. And then I just drilled my own holes in the center of them just to line it up, as well as countersunk the hole as well. So this hole was already there. This one I actually drilled. And then this is just in a piece of aluminum that I have the screws for the Hollyland because it only mounts on those 2 screws. And then I drilled an appropriate hole and then cut the threads in that with a tap to get that. So this is custom, but this piece I got off of Amazon and then customized it myself. So this was just something that when I'm going to a setup like this back to my main camera, which could be an Arri Alexa or Venice, and I can just clip it on because I have 2 of those little kind of receivers there for the V-lock. So let's just screw this back on, but I just get a lot of questions about that and I wanted to show you guys that. So again, to power this, I'm running the D-tap into a splitter here, and I love these splitters that you can just screw on with a actual screw in the middle, because I know that this is rock solid and not going anywhere. If I did Velcro, I'd have to get my Velcro kit out and then start putting patches on it. I absolutely hate doing that. And then we just have a 50-watt V-mount battery here. This one's by Kane TV. Super lightweight and perfect for these rigs because I'm just powering my accessories. I could run a dummy battery into the camera as well, and this could be running for as long as I want. It's no problem. But I don't want to throw in 135 here or 212 or anything like that. 50 watt is more than enough, and that's why I like have 1 or 2 of these in my kit. But again, we're gonna get the same exact shot, but this just comes with some luxury. If I was on a set where I had agency, client, and so many other people that wanted to see the shot, and I didn't want to come up to them and show them the camera and say, this is what they look like, do you like it? I want them viewing it real time. So that is why you would do something like this. So without any further ado, So we made a little mistake when actually rigging this one up because the camera's supposed to be facing the other way because the plate is actually gonna be facing like that. But then this is again just for our viewers' sake and just putting it back on. So it's gonna be a different perspective. So don't flame me in the comments for this, okay? So we're gonna just throw this on. Let's just find the point and we are good to go on this. So I'm gonna roll, and then again, if I had somebody on the focus wheel, they'd be setting my focus point, but I'm just going to set it with my hand right here, and we are good to go. But the only thing right now is because I'm dealing with a plate that's so much larger, and then also I have all this sticking out, I know I'm gonna hit that bar. But I know I don't have to go that high, I'm just gonna go above my head. But basically, yeah, we're good to go. So Justin, ready? 3, 2, 1. And stop. And that's it. Bring it back there. Bang. So we're getting the exact same shot But again, this is more advanced, and this just comes with nicer features, and I would have this more on a professional set, but I would have this ready to go. I would build it in a situation like this where I'm at a studio, and then I would have this ready to go in my bag. But then a lot of people don't have access to 2 nucleus motors. They don't have access to a bunch of stuff like this. That's why we built a budget version that you could easily put together, even if you have a rig like this and you need to get it. It's just time and allowing yourself time on set. So we wanted to showcase how you can get these specialty shots on a professional level as well on a budget. And you can see the result is about the same. If you guys enjoyed this video and want to see more content like this, let us know in the comments below.